So welcome to Left versus Right. I'm Anthony Weiner on your left, Dominic Carter on your right. Well, Dominic, apparently a lot of people have been listening to our shows, but you know who's been listening apparently? Joe Biden and Donald Trump. They want to get in on all this debate action. We're going to have two presidential debates, one as early as June, one in September, and it came about almost out of nowhere. You got to be thrilled.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
They just came out of nowhere.
Joe Biden challenged him to a debate, and he said yes.
Wow. Could it be, and I know we'll talk about polling later, could it be because the presidential race is almost over and Team Biden is in total desperation, and thus that's why, notice the Presidential Commission, right, the Nonpartisan Presidential Commission, those debates would normally be held much later.
Right.
Team Biden wants this moved up into June because they are on their last leg.
Well, the other reason is that early voting is happening in so many parts of the country that September doesn't make a lot of sense. Hey, but I got to give both these guys some credit.
No. You mean Trump some credit.
All right. I was going to say both you guys. You want me to finish?
All right, I want you to finish, but I want you to be honest.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Well, Biden doesn't deserve any credit. For what?
Well, this would not be news today, this weekend, if it were not for Joe Biden going online and challenging Donald Trump.
I wonder why he's challenging them now. Okay. It's called a lifeline, Mr. Weiner.
You just said that. I'm telling you, they both deserve credit. Both of them agreed to do it.
Biden has no other choice. Are you kidding me?
I don't know. It sounded to me like you were saying, "Oh, Joe Biden's afraid to debate. Donald Trump is afraid. He's afraid to debate." If it were not for Joe Biden putting up a challenge on Thursday of this week, we would not be sitting here. Why are you so opposed to giving both guys credit?
That's the funniest thing I've heard in quite some time, Mr. Weiner.
You don't get out much then. What's so funny about that?
What's so funny about it is Team Biden is looking at the latest polls.
Okay.
We'll get to it, showing them trailing, and 5 out of 6.
So we're done talking about the debate.
I'll
talk about the polls if you want.
And 5 out of 6 battleground states, Team Biden doesn't deserve credit. This is sheer desperation. The campaign is over.
So you're not at all surprised that Joe Biden out of nowhere said, "I want to debate you right away, and let's go." And the Donald Trump said, "Sure, I'll do it." And then they picked up one date, and then another date, and boom, it was done in 3 hours. Come on, this is American political world that these guys agreed like over the course. What was it?
Let me just finish Biden's original stance. I don't know if I'll debate Trump. It depends on how he acts. What happened to that, Mr. Weiner?
Apparently he acted fine.
So let me flip this then. I really want to hear your logic. I'm going to shut up, and I want you to tell me a straight reason why you think the President of the United States all of a sudden said, "Okay, I'm willing to debate, and I want to do it as soon as possible." Why is that?
Well, usually people that want debates believe that they benefit them. But when it deals with a presidential campaign, it's inevitable there are going to be some debates. And they said, listen, so long as you do it in a reasonable way, in a reasonable time, in a reasonable place. Donald Trump opened this up by saying anytime, any place. To his credit. I didn't think he was actually going to stick to that because he lies like a rug. But in this case, he actually did. When Joe Biden said, okay, June 27th on CNN, Trump responded yes. Then they said, I accepted a second one. Biden said September 10th on ABC. I wish it was WABC. He said yes. Right. So I think it was a case that both guys called each other's bluff, and it worked out fine.
No.
This wasn't even supposed to be something we argued about, but go ahead. Let me hear your theory about it.
Well, clearly what happened, President Biden, the Democrats thought that you would cruise to victory. You thought that this was the race again where Biden won the first time, in which the President of the United States
lost.
No. I'm referring to Mr. Biden. He wasn't the president at the time, but he was in his basement in Delaware.
Well, no, he said the debate. He can't have both ways. They did not have the debate in the basement.
He was running the campaign. The consultants kept him well hidden from
What are you talking about? The difference in number of events that they did that year. You've said that so many times. Here's what I do. When I'm done, I get off this microphone, I go check this out. It was like Trump did the entire campaign 8 more events than Biden did. Stop making that. That's a myth.
No, it's
That's
not
a myth that he was in the basement. He did as many events. And by the way, you can't talk about them having a debate where your guy got beaten like a rented mule. You got to admit, right? The last time, 2016, when Trump would not shut up, he kept, and finally, go back and look at the tapes, man. Go back and look at the tapes. Trump was terrible in that debate.
Okay, round 2 now. So why do you think Biden, how did he go from, I may not debate him, to all of a sudden, we'll debate. How did that happen?
I think it was
Is it
more.
a coincidence?
I don't know. You mean you're asking why now?
Yes.
I don't really care.
You know why?
I don't care. You're all about motivation. Yes, politics is involved in politics. What the heck is your point?
So is that a concession that Biden is losing badly right now?
Okay, let's go. If we're done, I thought we were going to spend a lot more time on the debates, like talking about what they might say, what they might do, who's going to benefit.
Right,
but if you want to go to the polls, you love talking about polls.
But you don't want to be honest. You don't want to admit that Biden's campaign is on life support and that the Democrats are in deep, deep trouble. Can you just acknowledge what is reality for the rest of the world?
Listen, my view is that anytime Donald Trump is standing on the stage with Joe Biden, history tells us it's a good day for Joe Biden. Am I surprised Joe Biden wants debates? I'm not really that surprised. I'm not surprised because last time in 2020, unless you really missed it, it was terrible for Donald Trump. He wouldn't shut up. He kept talking over the president. He looked like he could not control himself. He did a terrible job. If you doubt what I have to say, go back and read the clips or go back and listen to our callers from 2020.
From what I recall, Mr. Biden said, "Get this clown off the stage."
And that was and he was basically speaking for the American people at that point.
No, he wasn't.
And by the way, at that point, the polls went up and up for Joe Biden.
Okay, if Mr. Biden was speaking for the American people, explain and we'll talk about the polling. Explain why he's trailing so badly in the polling now.
Right now. Okay, so let's go to the polls. Some deep doo-doo if you take the last round of polls. And particularly the New York Times poll. You listened to my podcast that came out on Wednesday. I talked about this.
You had a great show today.
Thank you. But the podcast, I went into the numbers and how bad they are. Here are some things that are the most worrisome for Joe Biden in that poll. That basically people think this is a change election again. Usually they only come out 120 years or so, like Obama was a change election. According to this New York Times poll, this is a change election, and so some people want to change from competence to incompetence by going back to Donald Trump. Some people want to change.
That's what you call it.
Some people want to change from democracy, which is what Joe Biden stands for, to overrunning the Capitol, which is what Donald Trump stands for. But
you meant to say people want to go from incompetence back to competence.
Well, here's what's crazy about this poll, which makes me both nervous and also a little optimistic. People are saying things, I give Donald Trump credit for investing in infrastructure. He didn't pass the infrastructure law. Biden did. 17% of the people in this poll, listen to this. This is crazy. 17% of the people in this poll blame Biden for the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Okay, so what does that tell me? That tells me that there's a lot of knuckleheads like you out there in the electorate who believe this, who believe the worst, craziest things.
So why are you leaving out the most important part of the polling? That
the numbers.
That with the traditional Democratic strongholds, bye-bye the Latino vote, bye-bye the black vote, bye-bye.
I noticed
it's
only
you
May.
Mention that.
It's only May.
Okay.
This is the problem with talking about polls. I love you.
I know. They don't matter. The only poll that counts is on election day. That's what you say now.
First of all, no, I'm not going to say that. You see, whenever you try to predict what I'm going to say, you're going to be wrong because I am unpredictable.
Okay.
The problem with having a conversation on left versus right about polls is, so they're the polls. What are we going to do about it? What more can you say about them? Yes, very bad for Joe Biden.
Why? Can you explain why it's bad for Biden?
Because you want to be winning, not losing?
No. Notice you don't want to go into details.
These polls have made a trade. Since 2020, there's been a trade. Older white voters, more of them are going to Biden than before, but younger and black and Hispanic voters, more of them seem to be breaking for. That's why in the Sun Belt states, Donald Trump has built up a pretty big lead. In the industrial states, it's basically tied.
You say, aren't you the one that said if you're black, you'd have to be crazy to vote for Trump? Didn't you say that?
No, that was someone else. That was actually Joe Biden who said that on the podcast.
Right, no, Biden said that and you said it.
Here's what I said. I think you'd be wrong if you're someone who cares about it.
Right, well, obviously, Trump is looking at, based on polling, very high numbers for the first time ever. No, let's not just overlook it. Very high historic numbers for a Republican candidate with black voters.
Okay, that's
now,
great.
Explain that, Mr.
Therefore,
Weiner.
It's a poll. I don't know. It'll be different tomorrow.
Can you tell me why?
Couple of theories. You want some theories?
Yes, go ahead.
If the underlying things are true in this poll, that people want change, young people want change, then yes, if someone wants change, there's no one changer. Joe Biden is never going to be a change candidate. He's been around for a zillion years, and he represents stability and institutional. That's what we wanted.
Oh, he represents stability.
Correct. As opposed to your guy who gets impeached every 5 minutes, is literally standing on trial and is encouraging people to storm the Capitol. Yes. Joe Biden got elected in part because people said enough of the drama and ineffectiveness and COVID deaths and loss of jobs under Trump. What worries me about these polls, and I will freely admit I'm worried about the polls. I can't argue with you about it because who knows what they even mean. But it does seem that we're in a changed election according to this poll. And if we are, Joe Biden is not a change candidate. Is Donald Trump a change candidate? A big-time change candidate. He wants to change away from being a democracy to being a totalitarian regime. That's change. Young people, if they want that, they don't want Joe Biden. I totally understand.
Right. That sounds good. Notice when you mentioned January 6th, I didn't check you on that because that's
because
just
you
been,
believe.
No, because you
because
said,
you don't believe January 6th people are hostages or anything like that.
Because you just said that Trump urged them to take the Capitol. That's not true. They had a rally. He urged them.
He said he literally urged them. He says, "Come to Washington. We'll be wild." He says, "We're going to go up that hill."
He
had urged them to go to the Capitol.
That's not saying take the Capitol.
He did say that. He said, "We're going to march to the Capitol." He lied. He turned out he didn't do that, but that's what he said.
Well, the bottom line here is that Biden is in deep trouble, and that's why all of a sudden he's willing to debate. And for them to say,
therefore what?
For them to say, Team Biden, that they want the mics cut off when the time period.
What do you think about that?
You know what that is?
What is that?
That's because President Biden, he's, with all due respect to the President of the United States, he's not going to be able to stand on his legs for that entire.
Hold on a second. No.
Meaning
the
verbally.
problem is, though, Trump doesn't talk nonstop.
No.
This is better for Trump, by the way, because Trump came out of that thing looking completely unhinged. He would not shut up.
No, he looked like a president. And he looked like a president.
He wouldn't shut up. You got to go back and watch the tape again.
Mr. Weiner. We will do a lot better if you can take off those Democratic rose-colored glasses.
Look at the color behind me. This is left versus right, pal.
And be objective. You're not being objective.
No, I'm clearly subjective. It's my opinion. These are subjective.
But at some point, you got to call a spade a spade.
You disagree with my position. Doesn't mean my position is invalid. I believe that if you go back and you read the commentary and watch the video from 2020, come on. You've been involved in a lot of debates. You famously moderated my first mayoral debate.
Yes.
I'd never been in a big-time TV debate. You moderated.
And you did quite well.
I did okay. You were a very tough... but I want to tell you something. If you go back, you would never in a million years as a moderator tolerate what Donald Trump was doing in that first debate. And less so, but still did in the second.
Yes, I would.
You would let people just talk over their time?
Because I consider it great TV. You have to have some parameters.
You would let them talk over their time? If you announce to the participant...
Okay, but you see, notice what's going on. Democrats don't have anything to talk about. So you want to talk about the past. You want to talk about what happened.
We're previewing the debate now.
Right. Well, Mr. Biden's got a problem.
What's that?
How is he going to survive on that debate stage?
I know, that's what we're talking about. So let's continue talking about it. If you were the moderator of a debate,
right, and
one of the participants said, "I'm not going to pay attention to your rules. I'm going to talk when the other guy's talking," you would turn his mic off. Of course you would.
Well,
okay. So now all that Joe Biden is doing a favor for Donald Trump. By saying that they're going to control the microphones like that. Because Donald Trump does not look good when he's not following rules.
The reason why Team Biden is doing this is because, with all due respect to the president, they can only get him to remember but so much for an answer. And they're going to be praying.
No, that part the mic's going to be open for.
Let me just finish. And so if he remembers the response, let's say for argument's sake he remembers the response that the consultants gives him, right? So then you want to make sure the mic is cut off, because if there's back and forth banter, he's going to have a problem handling that. So that's why they want the mics cut off at the time period.
I listen, you're doing the best you can.
You're
doing the best you can. Anyone who has any memory.
No, Mr. Weiner. Okay, let's see if you can be objective. Out of most of the predictions that's been made between me and you, who has an overwhelming winning average and who does not?
You haven't gotten one right yet. What
every single thing we've talked about.
Like what?
From handling the protests at Columbia to
what prediction did you make?
To what I told you that that Trump was ahead in the presidential race. You said absolutely not.
No,
you said it was a matter of Biden getting his message out. And that's ridiculous.
Wait, so you say you predicted that a poll would be a certain way? That's not a prediction.
No.
We only do. But you predicted there'd be a hung jury. We don't know yet. You predicted
there's definitely going to be a hung jury.
I know that's a prediction.
Okay, but it's an accurate prediction.
Not yet. We haven't had it yet.
We're going to find out.
That's right.
Either an acquittal or hung jury.
Do your victory dance when you have victories.
Okay, but
let me go back to the thing we're talking about. We're getting off on a side on a tangent.
Go ahead.
Let's talk about what we're talking about here is whether the parameters that were set in this debate are good for the American people, for the participants.
They're good for Biden. They're good for his team.
You just said you would not tolerate if you were someone as an observer.
No, you answered that question for me. I didn't answer it. But go ahead.
It's probably better that I do. I could probably. We should just have Left versus Right with Anthony Weiner speaking for Dominic Carter. The point that I'm making is that
that's good. That's good. I like that.
Clearly,
one.
Joe.
I like that one.
Clearly,
it's completely delusional, but I like that one. I really do.
Clearly, Joe Biden would prefer to have a more organized debate. But I also think
they're trying to stack the deck to benefit Biden. Go ahead.
Here's a miracle that's going to happen someday. I predict, and then you're going to let me finish my sentence. Surely Joe Biden wants to have a more organized, structured debate. No doubt about that. But I think ultimately it benefits Trump as well because although Trump's instincts are to interrupt nonstop, he does better when he doesn't do that. You yourself said that Biden is a liability to himself. When you have that kind of situation, let the other guy talk.
No,
look what I do with you. Watch this.
No. That's not that.
You see what I did there, Dominic?
Yeah, I saw that. Kind of corny, but I saw it.
I'm pretty proud of myself.
They want to limit the mics because that's the advantage to Biden. They're trying to stack the deck. And I'm just saying here, I know it's the president of the United States, but you know what I think the American people would really love to see at this debate?
Yeah.
A wand as the candidates come out to make sure that there are no electrical, I'm serious, devices.
Do you remember? I think it was actually a thing. It was Bush v. Gore, I think, where there was actually this rumor going around that there was something in the back of Bush's coat that they thought he was getting help with the debate. Look. Neither one of these guys, both of these guys are old. Both these guys make a lot of gaffes. I think it's going to be amazing.
No, that's not accurate. That's not accurate.
You want me to play the montage? You want me to have Eric do the montage of gaffes by Donald Trump, and you do the montage of gaffes by Joe Biden? They both make a lot of gaffes.
No, it's not. It's not even equal. I think if you go ask, right? So here we are, Saturday afternoon. You go outside and ask people. Who makes more mistakes when speaking, Trump or Biden? I don't even have to answer that
When we come back, I'll play the whole montage. Actually, I'm not going to do that. When we come back, the other big story of the week, Michael Cohen takes the stand, and boy, was that exciting. Left versus Right, Anthony Weiner and Dominic Carter. We'll be right back after this. So welcome back to Left versus Right. You know, there was a lot of adventure going on inside the trial downtown, but there was a lot going on outside. I've never seen anything like this before. A whole bunch of politicians flew down from Washington, including the speaker, your guy. You like him because he stood up at Columbia and said, call in the National Guard, Speaker Johnson. You had Senator Tuberville. You had just about anyone who wants to be vice president. Those people were basically witness tampering, weren't they?
Are you serious?
Well, because, frankly, we know that that the president was told he can't say certain things, and he can't instruct other people to say certain things. All those people were going outside the court and saying those exact things. That was weird.
Do you really believe that?
Well, do I believe that he gave specific instructions? No, but I believe that the word went out.
Okay, so now I wanted to get you on the record. So Trump can't speak to defend himself.
And he can't instruct others to either.
Wait, because there's a gag order. And he has supporters ranging from the Speaker of the House to others, to Ramaswamy and Vivek Ramaswamy and others. And so it's wrong for him to allow them to speak on his behalf. Are you serious?
Let me ask you this. This is the people from the legislative branch coming to a courthouse to lend support to a defendant.
Right, and they should.
I know that you believe that they should. I think that's tampering. I think that's inappropriate. I think it's also very weird.
So you want it where Trump can't speak to defend himself?
He can too. Of course he can.
No.
You know how he can defend himself? He can take the stand. Is he going to take the stand, Dominic?
We'll see. If it was up to me, I would say please don't.
Why?
I would say please don't, because you got a judge that's against you, plus you got the prosecutors.
First of all, the judge has been ruling left and right in favor of your guy. I don't believe that that's right. But let me ask you something. When someone accuses you of doing something wrong,
right?
Don't you want to say I didn't do it?
No, it's not that simple. And
who's the only person that can rebut what Stormy Williams said?
And Stormy Daniels said. And everybody knows it's not that simple, because prosecutors have already said that should he take the stand, they want to question him about E. Jean Carroll and everything else under the sun.
They're not allowed to. He's allowed to do about lying in other cases. That he is allowed to do.
But that's
But wait
not
a minute.
fair.
But if he's so hell bent on saying he didn't have an affair with Stormy Daniels, go say it on the stand.
Why do you keep locking on this affair with Stormy Daniels thing?
If he thinks that Michael Cohen lied, stand on the stand and say he lied. If he wants to say, I did not know that there was a cover-up, say I don't think there was a cover-up. I didn't cover anything.
You know it's not that simple. Once he takes the stand,
he's such a Superman.
Takes the stand, he opens himself. We'll see if you say the same thing when it comes to a possibility of Joe Biden, President Biden,
you mean.
being on. Excuse me.
We mean Hunter Biden. Joe Biden's not accused of
Joe
anything
Biden.
criminal.
I meant what I said. Joe Biden.
What's he accused of?
When he leaves office, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see if
has he done anything yet that you think?
We'll see if you say that Mr. Biden should take the stand.
You have
because
plenty
you're talking out of both sides out of your mouth right now, Mr. Weiner. And
Donald Trump.
You're trying to make gleeful points.
Only Donald Trump made an argument that he didn't have an affair with that woman. Only Donald Trump's side. They didn't have to. They could say, sure, we did.
See, there you go again. You keep focusing on an alleged affair.
All I'm doing is saying that if someone lies about me, I want to take the stand to say I didn't.
No, but we both know that counsel can instruct the client. It's not in their best interest.
He said he was going to testify, Dominic. You don't think he lies, do you?
Maybe he will take the stand.
You don't think Donald Trump lies, do you?
Maybe he will take the stand.
Let me ask you. Donald Trump said he was going to take the stand. Do you think he's going to?
If it were up to me, I would say, Mr. Trump, don't do it.
I know, but Donald Trump doesn't lie, does he? Does he, Dominic? He wouldn't lie about a thing like that, would he? He said he was going to take the stand in the E.G. Carroll case. Did he do that?
I think he's a much better president than the current occupant of the White House. That's all I care about.
That's all you care about?
Meaning, I don't care what Trump tweets about Stormy Daniels. I care about, let's talk about interest rates. Let's talk about the American people have no faith in your guy. Notice you're not putting up that defense anymore that you were doing in the first couple rounds.
I'm sorry.
Joe Biden has done a great job turning around the economy.
We just got signs that inflation is down again. So the stock market is up 60% from when he took office.
Okay.
You want to do that? I'll be glad to do that. We're talking about the trial.
You don't believe that, but go ahead.
These are numbers. I don't make up the stock market. I don't invest that much. I don't have that much money. I'm a thousandaire, not a millionaire.
Are the polling numbers correct?
The polling no. Well, you mean correct? I believe the polls.
Okay, so you acknowledge
if the election were held today.
Go ahead.
I'd be very surprised if the election were held today.
No. What does that mean?
Because the election's not going to be held today.
Okay, but if it were, what does that mean?
The election's not going to be held today, Dominic.
What does that mean?
Well, let me ask you. You're good at predictions.
Okay, no.
Do you predict the election?
You already know. I said Trump is going to win. If the election were held today, who would win?
The election's not going to be held today.
But who would win if it was held today?
I believe the polls are right.
Okay, but what does that mean? Who would win the election?
I believe that that Joe Biden would win Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and lose the other four.
And so what does that mean?
I actually don't know. I have to do the math. He doesn't have to win all of them. He has to, and he might pick up a state here or there. It'll be very close.
So if the election were held today, who would emerge victorious?
The election's not going to be held today.
But if it were?
Donald Trump. But the election held today? Let me ask you a factual question. Is the election going to be held today?
I'm coming to join you.
Is the election going to be held today?
Anthony Weiner just admitted that if the election were held today, that Trump would win. I told Mr. Weiner, Elizabeth, that Trump is doing well with the black community. Weiner said outrageous. Elizabeth,
I did not.
I told Mr. Weiner that Mr. Trump was doing good with the Latinos.
I told you I believe the polls.
Mr. Weiner said no.
I told you that's not right.
So now the numbers are right there
Dominic,
in front of him.
you are misquoting
Elizabeth,
me.
I said, Mr. Weiner, Trump is doing quite well in the battleground states. No, he's not. What are you talking about?
Now, you can go read the tape. You can go download the tapes as much as you want. I have said repeatedly
and
about.
You know I will download them,
I said repeatedly. You tell me if this sounds familiar. I said either the numbers are wrong about the black community or something very big is happening in the black community. One of those two things.
Right.
We'll find out.
He went to Harlem. those are not regular.
Yeah, well, that was
black people in the
AstroTurf.
community.
Remember that?
Remember that?
Here, hold on, Dominic. I'm
Yes.
going to ask you to pause for a second because you're getting a little worked up talking to Elizabeth.
Go ahead.
We can talk about polls every week. My view is it's not good to do a debate show about polls because all the polls are like the weather. Okay,
Mr.
fine,
Weiner,
it's raining.
if your guy was ahead, that would be
No,
the
my
lead
guy is
topic.
being a good president. That's the topic I'd like to talk about.
Oh.
He deserves to be ahead.
Really?
Yes. That we could talk about because there are two sides to that argument.
Okay.
What the weather is not really something you debate.
Okay.
Well, that's all the poll is what the weather is that day.
Okay.
But let me ask you about these.
Go
the
ahead.
president called these people who are outside the trial, he called them surrogates. Surrogates implies he's working on his behalf. The gag order says you cannot instruct someone else to make these remarks. Tuberville said, we went down there to clear up the record because Donald Trump can't say them. We went down there to say them. That seems to me like something that Donald Trump can get a lot of trouble for.
Using your own words.
Which one? No, Tuberville said that.
No, okay, but that doesn't say that Trump told us to do it. It says we went down there on our own to defend the former president. Come on, Mr. Weiner.
Well, we went down because he can't speak, so we're speaking for him. And Donald Trump called them surrogates.
Okay, so wait.
Surrogate is someone who works for you.
Okay, so wait, Mr. Weiner, the fact that you have U.S. senators and the Speaker of the House going to speak on Mr. Trump's behalf, that doesn't tell you...
They're sycophants.
No, that doesn't tell you that they believe strongly that it's a tremendous injustice.
These guys don't believe in Donald Trump.
Happening.
They don't believe in Donald Trump. They don't believe... Do you think, knowing what you do about Speaker Johnson, being this Bible thumper from Louisiana, thinks that he should go down, if left to his own devices, to go down to speak up for guys accused of having sex with a porn star and paying it off? You think that's what he thinks is the right thing to do? Or you think that's the expedient thing for him to do?
See, there you go again. Sex with a porn star.
No, I'm saying that's what... I'm trying to talk about the surrogate Speaker Johnson, who's this Bible thumper, and makes a big deal about that. You think he's gone to any other people who've been accused of having sex with porn stars and been covered up? It's just tawdry. He shouldn't be there, but he's there. He's there because he's a trained monkey. That's all the Republican Party is for his head now. That's all they are for him.
Wow.
Look at these people running for vice president. They want to get picked.
Trained monkey?
All these guys are, yeah. Say it again.
So what are Democrats then?
They're not standing up for Joe Biden when he's accused of having sex with porn stars and paying off. There's no analogy because no president in American history has ever been this sleazy.
First of all, Mr. Weiner,
allegedly sleazy.
Mr. Weiner, you know that American presidents have done far worse, and I'm talking sexually. Okay.
All right.
Now, whether or not they've been caught
worse than this
is
worse than this. This is pretty bad.
What's pretty bad?
I don't want to say it again. It's
sleazy.
Wait,
let's say he did have sex with a porn star,
and then paid her off.
So what? He had sex with a porn star
and paid her off.
And what businessman would not?
And
what businessman would not?
And paid her off and says, "Let's pay her off before the election because after it doesn't matter."
Mr. Weiner,
if I had a wife, I don't know. I would really not be happy about that.
Mr. Weiner, I know that you're trying to turn the tide.
I don't have to. This is as ugly as you don't need Anthony Weiner to tell you how sleazy this looks.
You're trying to turn the tide to help President Biden, but you can throw him as many lifelines as you want. Nothing is working. Fani didn't work. The federal cases are not working.
Wait, not
None
working.
Of it's working.
They've been delayed. Justice delayed is justice denied.
Okay.
He is still indicted 84 times as we sit here. Say that sentence. My candidate for president has 84 indictments hanging over his head.
My candidate for president is winning 5 out of 6 battleground states.
It's a good thing the election isn't held today, isn't it?
Well on his way to returning to the White House.
Could be. Now, and he has how many indictments hanging over his head?
I believe there are 84 counts.
84. They're not 90. 6 of them got thrown out.
That should not be there.
Well, you are judge, jury, and executioner.
And so, with all due respect, President Biden has completely clean hands.
Tell me he hasn't been indicted at all. He has 0 indictments.
Of course not. He's a sitting president.
By the way, I thought you guys were going to impeach him. What happened to that?
I never said that.
Crickets.
I never said that. You know why I never said that?
What about Speaker Johnson?
See, let me tell you the difference in how you assess things.
You didn't think he should be indicted. You don't think he should be impeached, do you?
President Biden, no, he shouldn't be impeached.
What's going on?
You know why?
Why?
You know why he shouldn't be impeached?
Because he didn't do any high crime or misdemeanor. How about that?
No. If you want to go on the merits of what happened at the border, absolutely he should be impeached. But let me finish.
Let's go on the merits.
Let me finish. But the votes are not there in the Senate. You know it. I know it.
Are the votes there in the House?
Yes.
No, votes are not there in the House either.
Well,
Surely they would have done it. These guys are chomping at the bit.
Okay. All right.
You know why it hasn't happened? There's no evidence to support a crime. No. They can't even state a crime. Oh, you state a crime. State a high crime or misdemeanor he violated.
No, see, I'm not going to do that because you're trying to lead me down a road.
Yes, I certainly am. A road of admitting that there's nothing to impeach him for. And your guy's indicted for 86 times.
No, okay, so if you want to talk about leading down a road,
yes,
let's go back to the polling.
Okay, fine.
Let's talk about
the weather,
Mr.
too.
Weiner. No, let's talk about the polling.
Go ahead.
Okay, why don't you tell our listeners in an objective way what the round of recent polling shows?
I went through it already.
No.
Want to do it again?
Tainted it, but don't taint it this time.
Okay.
Go ahead.
In the poll of the polls, which is the group of the 7, there have been 5 polls in Nevada. On average, Trump leads by 6.7%. In Georgia, there have been 9 high-quality polls. Trump leads by 5.3%. By the way, I do a podcast about this week called The Middle Unplugged, where I go through these numbers also. North Carolina had 8 high-quality polls. Trump leads by 5.1%. Arizona, there have been 8 high-quality polls. Trump leads by 3.6%. Those are the Sun Belt states. In the industrial states, it's a little bit closer. Michigan, Trump leads by 2.1 within the margin of error. Pennsylvania, 1.9 within the margin of error. Wisconsin, 0.1. Now, if it breaks down exactly that way, that the Sun Belt states all go for Trump and the 3 industrial states all go for Biden, I think Biden gets 270. I don't think he needs anything more than those 3. But all of these, Biden won last time. Go ahead. There you go. I've given you a presentation on the polling.
And you left out the record numbers for Hispanics for Trump and for blacks for Trump.
Yes.
You conveniently left that part
Well,
out.
I didn't break down where the margins are.
Of course
but
not.
I did say it earlier, so I'll say it again since you might not have been paying attention to the beginning of the show.
Right.
More older white voters are voting for Biden. More younger and people of color are voting for Trump. That's what has changed since 2020.
So your assessment that Trump would not do well.
I haven't assessed anything. I'm just reading you what the poll is.
Trump would not do well with the minority vote, your assessment has been
Let's
wrong.
find out. We will find out. Nothing's happened yet.
Based
You're in
on
love
the
with the
polling,
polls. Nothing's happened yet.
No. I'm in love with the polls because they reflect oftentimes reality. You're not in love with them because your guy is a sinking
I would
ship.
rather be leading the polls than trailing the polls. I've said that 1,000 times. I just don't know how it helps left versus right to say, okay, the poll came out this week. Yes, a poll came out this week. Do you have anything else to say about them?
It's yet another indication that President Trump is headed back to the White House. President Biden is headed back to Delaware, and that's that.
When are we going to find that out?
You already know when. In November.
That's right. The first Tuesday following the first Monday in November.
Right.
Up until then, you'll have polls. You're gonna have polls. I don't happen to think just saying the numbers of polls. If you want, we can do a poll wrap up because it makes you so happy every week.
Okay. Will there be a conviction in this case in Manhattan?
I want to see what the defense puts on.
Okay,
how about this?
No, notice I'll answer it. No, there won't be a conviction.
I know you want to do. Can I hear everyone's side of the case? How about this? I will make a prediction before the jury comes back.
Right. Okay.
We'll
see.
All right. Dominic wants to be in the prediction game. I want to be in the substance game.
No, you want to be in the Democratic spin game.
Yep. Blue. Left.
Right.
Dominic Carter. Anthony Weiner.
Facts. Love you, man. Facts.
You're the best, but if you want facts.
You're wrong, but facts.
We're doing an opinion show.
Facts.
We do opinions.
Is Vinny Meduno going to give us some facts?
He is. He's going to do them from the left.
Have you ever heard him sing?
Yeah, he's amazing. Anthony Weiner on the left, Dominic Carter on the right. We'll see you next week.